As we wrap series 4 of These Three Things, I am so excited to be recording our final episode with the gorgeous Alex Jones, a familiar and much loved face on our televisions with no less than 15 years at the helm on The One Show. Alex is no stranger to presenting and sharing her life with us, be it recent family adventures, home renovations, or her latest stack of recommended bedtime reads. A true professional with Wales at the very heart of her identity. She makes all her guests feel at ease, and I plan on taking a leaf out of that book as we delve in. Alex, welcome. How are you today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you so much for saying yes to being a guest. I've been very excited about wrapping our final episode of Series 4. And we are dying to know which one person, one place, and one treasured possession have profoundly impacted your life. Let me start by asking, was it a difficult list to formulate or did it come to you quite quickly?
I think it comes quite quickly. In life, especially a person that's impacted you, I think, they spring to mind pretty easily because they stand out. And of course, to have had a profound effect on you, they must be at the forefront of your mind. The treasured item is a little bit more difficult. It could have been one of 5 things.
Okay.
And the place, again, it could have been a couple of different places, but I think one changed the course of my career. And so I chose that place.
Oh, I'm so excited. Let's start with your person, if I may. Who have you chosen and why?
So I was between 2 people, but ultimately I've decided to choose my drama teacher. And the reason I've chosen her is because I think she unlocked something in me that nobody else had seen, not even my parents. She was my drama teacher in secondary school, so from the age of 11 until 18, all the way from the beginning of secondary school to A-levels. And she's a wonderful lady. She's called Delyth Mai Nicholas, a good Welsh name. And she was an incredible drama teacher. She made lessons so fun that even the kids who didn't really like the arts loved drama. You know, some of the boys would see it as an opportunity to mess about. And even with them, she managed to reframe it. And she said, well, let's think of this. Okay, it is a chance to enjoy, but let's try and enjoy it this way. And everybody who passed through her, I think, ended up with, if not a talent for drama, an appreciation for it. And I think that's incredible because actually so many jobs have public speaking at its core. You need confidence for everything in life. And
Truly.
so I think, people think drama is just sort of acting and, pretending to be a tree and all of those things that sometimes you do in university. But there's a lot more skills there, I think, that are pertinent to everyday life, even more so for me than things like mathematics. I use the skills I learned in that class every single day because of the job I do. But for everybody else, I think they took a lot away from it. Now, they say that one teacher can change your life. And sometimes, all you need, isn't it, is one good teacher. And for me, she was that person.
I absolutely love this choice. I can completely relate to it. But can I go back a minute? So which school and which part of Wales were you in at this time?
So we lived in a little town called Ammanford, and this was a school in Carmarthenshire. It was quite far actually from where we lived. It took about an hour and a quarter on a bus there and back.
Really?
And
Wow.
yeah, it really did. But it was because it was the only Welsh language secondary school in our catchment area. So there was a bilingual school, which my sister actually attended. But when it came to choosing a secondary school, I wanted to continue through the Welsh language. And so that was the choice. It was a smaller school than my sister's comprehensive and with more focus on the arts. And I really liked that about it. And in that school was the jewel in the crown for me, was Delyth Mai Nicholas, the drama teacher. And I'm so glad I chose. It's a bit of a sliding doors moment, isn't it? Because I could have gone to the school that was closer and it would have been fine, but I would never have met her. And I wonder whether we'd be having this chat now.
What was the first production that you did, maybe as an 11-year-old, that gave you that taste for performance? What was it?
I think because every summer the school would put on a musical, like lots of secondary schools do. And the first one I was involved with was The Wizard of Oz, and I was just in the chorus, and oh my goodness, I loved it.
Yeah.
It didn't matter that I wasn't a main part. I just thought this is the best fun ever. I think though a lot of people, even who don't follow a career in performing, really enjoy doing those musicals in school. There's something about sort of getting together and working on something, and everybody's adrenaline pumping on the night and then coming away from it. I don't know, there's something quite, I don't know, there's the teamwork involved in musicals is something I think lots of people remember fondly from school. And so that was the first one. And I remember I had mum's green skirt on from the 80s, which was like a heavy denim, and she dyed it emerald green, and an emerald green t-shirt and these slip-ons from Marks and Spencer, and I thought I was it. I was like,
Love it.
This is it, guys. I've arrived. I'm in emerald green and I'm feeling good. But it was just the fun of it, you know?
Yeah.
And I was super shy in school. I mean, so shy, painfully
Really?
shy.
Were you?
Oh,
Wow.
I can't tell you. I wouldn't say boo to a goose. I mean, mum and dad, I think now looking back, they were only 24 and 25 when I was born. They were really young, but they were very strict with us. And it was very much if we were in somebody's house, a family member, or over at a neighbour's house, it was very much, children should be seen and not heard. So I was a complete kind of conformist, still am.
Okay.
A good kid. I listened, I would do as I was told. And mum and dad, now they say in hindsight, probably we were too hard on you. You were a really well behaved child. We didn't need to be so strict. And she said, and actually, I feel like we probably quashed a lot of confidence in you. It's funny, isn't it? And I think it's so healthy how parents can reflect like
It
that and
is.
say, we think we made a mistake there. Now it's all come out in the wash anyway. But that's their reflection looking back. But anyway, so I went through school super shy, very conscientious. And then it got to, I think, year 10 now, or form 4 as it was then. And we had to make our choices for GCSE. And I remember saying to mum and dad, I really want to do drama. And dad's face, drama? But why? And I said, because I really like it. And he said, but Alex, you're so shy. Why would you want to do that? And in the end, I persuaded them. I thought, well, they thought it's GCSEs. There's 11 subjects in all. Let her do drama as one of them. And that was the beginning, really. And it meant more lessons with my drama teacher. And she just looked me right in the eye and she said, I know you're really shy on the surface, but I think underneath there's a lot more to unlock. And she said, should we give it a go?
Brilliant.
And from that moment on, she just said, you're really good at characterization. You really understand text. And I've always loved literature. And she slowly, bit by bit, I just came out of my shell in that class.
Broke you open.
It did.
Yeah.
And I looked forward to it. We had 2 drama lessons every week. I loved it. Did really well in my GCSEs drama. And I think lots of people think, oh, it's just messing about, and actually what's involved. But there's actually an amazing amount of coursework and writing and understanding plays. And I really loved all that. I made some of my best friends in that class, and my very best friend, Catherine, myself and her still best friends to this day. She is now a director producer. We've just made a documentary together.
Oh, really?
And it's really funny
Fantastic.
how it all started in that class.
With Delith.
With Delith.
I wanted to ask you, when she started working with you more on a one-to-one, and like you said, that confidence then comes through and you think, I can do this. Did you start to get sort of bigger parts and bigger, more main characters in productions? And also my next question was then, did you do your A-levels in theatre?
Yes, so we went on. We did lots of sort of Welsh language plays and musicals. And I never had a brilliant singing voice, as maybe you would have seen on The Masked Singer. Terrible. But I did love the performing side of it. And so, yes, the parts grew, and, she gave me this really challenging monologue in one, and I was beside myself. But that was the first real sort of shot of adrenaline I ever got. And I thought, God, this is great,
This is it.
This is it. And so went on to do A levels with her. And I remember, God, it was way back when, but we were doing American drama. So we did a Streetcar Named Desire. And I was,
play.
yes, such a great play. Still love it. And I was playing Blanche, one of the main characters, Blanche Dubois. And I actually had to learn to smoke. I mean, imagine now. That's unheard of. And that was so alien to me, mum and dad again smoking. And it was so weird. There was these, I don't know, herbal, I don't think they were proper cigarettes. There was some herbal cigarettes from some weird chemist somewhere. But, things have changed so much. But I really loved doing it. And it was a practical exam with an external examiner. And I just absolutely loved it. So, I then got better in other areas of study as well, because my confidence grew, my circle of friends expanded, and we had a really good gang of boys and girls in the sixth form, and we were all really brilliant friends. Mum and Dad were super cool. They'd be like, bring everybody over to our house on Friday. And so it was her really that did all of that for me, socially and, educationally.
Do you think your parents got to see just what an impact she had made on their daughter, who'd gone from this really shy and retiring little kid to someone who was just blossoming on stage, who'd found her voice and was clearly thriving? Did they come to see that and say, do you know what, we got it wrong? You're absolutely where you belong?
I think they were very aware of the impact she had. And I think still to this day, if you asked mum or dad, which teacher really affected Alex, and they would definitely say Delith. We became friends then, still in touch now. She's retired now. But I think mum and dad, they still saw performance as a hobby. And of course, it wasn't their fault. They'd been brought up. I mean, they were really scraping to get by when we were little. Dad worked as an engineer. Mum was a bank clerk, but she took loads of time off to raise us, basically. Then she went back part-time. And, money was scarce. And so they had a really strong work ethic, which I've completely inherited from mum. But I think, it was alien to them to follow your dreams. They were like, well, what does that mean? No, you've got to make money. You've got to be able to support a family. And it was just the mindset that they had back then. Things have changed now, of course. But mum and dad were very young, and they were working their socks off to support my sister and I. And I think then, they didn't have the knowledge we have now, and they didn't have the options open to them that we have now. Nobody in my family had been to university before I went.
Same here.
I was the first one, and I think they were so chuffed that they'd managed to get a daughter to university, and bloody good on them, I say. But, it was all centered around practicality. It wasn't, flights of fancy back then.
Did you go to drama school after school, or did you go and study something else at uni?
I really wanted to go to drama school. But I think that was a stretch too far for them. Okay. I think also, I'm not sure, obviously it would have been amazing to go to RADA or, the Welsh College of Music and Drama. And mum sort of said, well, you could, but what about doing a teaching degree? So there was still that little bit of resistance there. And in the end, I ended up going to Aberystwyth University and to do drama, theatre, film and television. And I mean, if I'm honest, I didn't learn a lot,
You just had a great time.
I had a great time. And actually, looking back, I'm glad I went there because, university is all about experience, isn't it?
Mm.
Now, I do feel sorry for people going in now because it has to be about more than that. It's so expensive these days. Then, I think it was the last year that tuition fees, weren't a
We're
thing,
free.
were
Yeah.
free. And so mum and dad obviously had to pay for halls of residence. And that was a big wedge for them. That was a big sacrifice. And I was awful. I mean, I went to no lectures. I remember the head of film, this really kind of cool silver fox guy who used to show us Taxi Driver and things. And he rang mum and dad in the second term and he said, "Now, I believe you are the parents of Charlotte Alexandra Jones." And I said, "Yes, is everything okay?" And he went, "Well, I'm the head of the film school and we have done 3 terms and I'm yet to even meet her." Oh my God. So that, yes, I mean, the
Yeah, but
thing
look
is,
who's laughing now.
well, this is the thing is, and it's not an excuse, but film was on a Thursday and Wednesday was a very big night out.
It was a
So,
big club night. I know.
it was never going to happen, was it? But what I did have in uni
I
was,
love it.
tons of, I mean, still my best friends. And
Yeah.
we had a great time. And actually, if a young person was asking me now, "Oh, I really want to get into television," I think it's different if you want to go down the theatre route and acting. But if somebody said now, "I want to get into television," I don't know that you need a degree. It's my
Yeah.
honest,
Things have changed enormously.
I think they have. But I would still encourage the experience because the experience was worth its weight in gold. I mean, I was really young and really green before I went to uni, and I grew up and, I needed to move away from home and I never went back home after that. So it gave me a lot, but not particularly education.
But of all the things you've said, actually, what really stands out for me is that you were very, as you said, very adhering to your parents' wishes and a conformist, but you also followed your dreams. And had it not been for Delith, who unlocked something at such an impressionable age, at such a tender age, and showed you your potential, you wouldn't be where you are now, possibly. So Delith, you say, has retired. And do you think she will get to hear this episode? I hope so.
I think she will. She still follows my career really closely. And, we've bumped into each other in different events when I've gone back to host things, either back at school or things in the local community where mum and dad still lived for many years after I came to London. And, oh, just the pride on her face.
Mm.
It, it's, oh, it's just
It's
so
adorable.
special because
Yeah.
she literally changed the course of my life. And, we do this thing on the One Show, the Teaching Awards every year.
Yeah.
And I cannot bang on enough about you only need one teacher to show interest and see something in you that the others haven't. And she was that person for me.
I love that. To Delith, is it May? Did you say her middle name?
Delith Mai, which is Welsh for May.
Mai,
Delith
thank you.
Mai Nicholas. Legend.
Well, Delith Mai Nicholas, legend. We love you. Thank you for that, Alex. I've absolutely loved hearing that. I'd like to segue onto your place now, if I may. Where have you chosen and why?
Well, I mean, I went through many different variations on this. I was like, "Oh, I love Pembrokeshire and all the holidays we had there." And that is kind of my spiritual home. Anyway, I went round and round the houses and thought, is it Chiswick where I first lived in London? No, it's not. I know where it is. It's Magaluf.
Oh my God, tell me why.
Now, why, you may ask? Well, first of all, I had many holidays in Magaluf with the girls. This was kind of shortly after A levels.
Mm-hmm.
We were 17 or 18, well, 18 after A levels. I can't even believe that my parents let me go, to be honest. I mean, I would be hard pressed to let my children go to Magaluf at 18, knowing what I know. I probably will have to by then, but anyway. But we had a great time. But that's not the reason. The reason is because I took part in a game show when I was 21. One rainy day, I was sat at home in mum and dad's house, and the phone rang, the landline, of course, because we had no mobiles. And it was this agency that I used to work for. And when I say agency, it wasn't glamorous. It wasn't an acting agency or, like I have now. It was an agency that basically gave me sort of promo jobs. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes, I totally know what you mean.
Yeah, so I would stand in the middle of the Quadrant, which was a shopping centre in Swansea, spraying perfume on people.
Handing out flyers.
Exactly. Or I would stand in the foyer of Tesco, giving people little samples of hairspray. It was that kind of job. And inevitably, before the end of the day, I would find a large skip somewhere and dump all the stuff because I'd be fed up. But anyway, this was the kind of work I did to get me through university. And they rang and they said, listen, we've just had a phone call. They are looking for people to take part in a game show, but you need to be in the Angel Hotel in Cardiff. And I don't know whether you know the Angel Hotel. It's opposite the Millennium Stadium.
Yeah.
And I was at home, Ammanford, a good hour away from Cardiff. But in a very me way, I thought, yeah, I'll go now. So I said, okay, tell them I'll be there. So I got dressed, hopped on a bus. And I mean, that was a pest because you had to go first to Swansea, then change, and then another kind of hour and a quarter to Cardiff. And eventually I got to the Angel Hotel. And there was these big signs up saying Thames TV. And back in the day, that was what you always used to see on ITV, wasn't it? And in I went to a room and had to pretend to be, oh, God knows what, a weather presenter, play various games with other young people from Wales who were around the same age, do a bit of sort of reading out loud, egg and spoon race, random things. And I said, so what's this for? And they said, oh, we're looking for people to take part in this game show that will be filmed in Magaluf. Well, with that, my ears pricked up. I was like, great. And they said, yeah, you'd need to be there for a month. And I thought, brilliant. This has got to be a thing. So then I get called back, and a few weeks later, and we meet up in Brown's Hotel in London this time. For another round of auditions, and there were people there from Northern Ireland, from Scotland and England, and some of the people I'd met at the Wales audition. And eventually they whittled it down, and 60 of us from various countries were chosen to go to Magaluf. Fantastic. But there was one hitch. And the hitch was the filming dates coincided with my finals.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So I had to go to my tutor at uni, and they knew I'd been quite slack anyway, so it wasn't a good start. And I said, look, they've asked me to take part in this game show and I really want to go. And she said, oh, fantastic, that would be such great experience. What's the problem then? And I said, well, it's the same date as my finals. And she said, right, well, absolutely not then. And I was gutted. So I said, come on, Hazel, couldn't I just do them a week later? And she said, absolutely not. Everybody in the country has to sit them at the same time. And she said, imagine what your parents would say. You can't go, end of story. So I went back to my halls of residence, very depressed, and wrote her a letter and said in the letter, look, I really want to do this. It would be a great experience to see how a program works and its big scale, and, please let me go. And anyway, she relented in the end, and they flew my papers.
Nice one, Hazel.
Nice one, Hazel. Come on, Hazel. I love her too. But they flew my papers for my finals over to Magaluf. And I sat my finals in a gymnasium in Magaluf, while my friends at Aberystwyth did them in a sort of similar room there. And I had Davina McCall as my invigilator because she was presenting the programme.
No way. I love it.
Yeah. So we would, during the day, play all these stupid games and film. And it was kind of like It's a Knockout. I was awful. I mean, I was in this awful yellow bikini because Wales were yellow, like a daffodil, looking super unattractive. But oh my God, we had a laugh. And then I would try to be revising. He'd go off on this catamaran or whatever filming, and I'd try to have my notes for Shakespeare with me. And then the boys would put the notes in the sea, and I'd think, oh my God, this is not good. Anyway, and so 4 exams I had to go and sit. And Davina would come with me, and then she'd be the one saying, okay, 15 minutes left. And I think, oh my God, I've blown this. This is a shambles. And my parents were pulling their hair out, you can imagine. Anyway, came back with a 2-1, not too bad, and a complete sort of revelation that I wanted to work in television.
Right.
So Magaluf, you see, not only was it a great holiday destination, but for me, it was the start of everything I did afterwards.
That is such a brilliant story. I mean, who knew you weren't even in a film lecture and you came out with a 2-1? And it all started in Magaluf. I mean, brilliant. And did you have some fun nights at BCM in those days? Do you remember that club?
Yes, BCM, the queuing to go in, then the foam party, and the horrible shots. But I mean, and then, so spent that month in Magaluf, did my finals. My first job after this programme called Prickly Heat, which please nobody Google, absolute shambles. I was then offered a presenting role on a show called La Bamba, which was for S4C, the Welsh Channel 4, and we filmed 2 series in Magaluf. So I had in total another 4 months in Magaluf. So it was a very important place at the beginning of my career.
Please tell me you had your hen party there, or you've been back since.
Do you know what? The girls said, it can only be in Magaluf. And I was like, girls, BCM has closed. And we ended up in Paris. But no, it was a close call. I've got very, very fond memories. I mean, I can still picture that strip very clearly.
Me too.
But the night before we began filming this show called La Bamba, which was a dating beach show, very similar to the other one, with lots of different contestants, sort of all around 20, 21, 22. We found a bottle of absinthe, drunk all of it, and couldn't film the next day. And then myself and my male co-host, we had a curfew. They wouldn't let us out anymore. They were like, absolutely not. You're so unprofessional. So for the rest of the month of filming, we had to go to bed at 10.
Oh, God, I love it.
I know.
How many years between La Bamba and the one show? What was the crossover? Was it just a natural jump?
No, there was a lot in between. So after La Bamba, weirdly, I went back into kids television.
Okay.
So as in not back, but I sort of took a step back into kids television and did the Continuity Links, which is like CBBC. I did a kids bedroom makeover show for 10 years, which I loved. I still, I've always been obsessed with interiors, and that was just such fun. Did that, did lots of extreme sport programs, did a rugby program, a fashion program, holiday program. And so actually in that decade, I felt like I'd gathered a lot of different experience. And when the random phone call came to ask me to go and meet the producers at the One Show, I felt ready. I was like, yeah, I think I can do this.
Yeah, all happens at the right time.
Sliding doors, doesn't it,
Well, I have absolutely loved hearing your place. Magaluf in Mallorca, brilliant choice. Okay, on to your final question. If you were stripped of everything, what one treasured possession would Alex Jones take with her and why?
Well, I mean, like lots of your guests, I went through, would it be, photographs? I mean, I'm a really keen photographer and I love taking pictures of the kids and I love developing them, which is something I think a lot of people don't do anymore. So we've got lots of pictures all over the house of them at various stages. And then I thought, oh, would it be something like the little bands that were on the children when they were born, you know, on their wrists and on their ankles, all of that sort of stuff. And then I went, no, I know what it is. It is my watch.
Okay.
Now, this watch is no ordinary watch. It is a watch that I have had on my wrist. I've only pulled it off this morning. Long story, started doing weights, don't ask. Awful. And I was pressing on it. So I pulled it off and it's upstairs in my daughter's room, but it's never off my wrist. And it's been on my wrist every day since my 18th birthday when my parents bought it for me.
Oh,
So,
lovely.
I mean, I can't even do the maths, but that is a hell of a long time ago. And mum and dad, as I alluded to earlier on, they didn't have a lot of money. They worked really hard and we had everything we needed, but there was no extra. You know, I didn't go abroad until I was 14. Our sort of holidays would be in Pembrokeshire. We had a VW Caravanette,
Cool.
which was so embarrassing when you're young. Now I can see how cool that was, of course.
Yeah.
And we'd, you know, spend our holidays in Tenby and Solva. And, you know, we always had really good food, home cooked food, but we never went to restaurants. There just wasn't any slack there, really. They were up to the wire. But for my 18th birthday, and the same with my sister's 18th birthday, they bought us a Rolex each. And we were like, wow. Well, also, first of all, what's a Rolex at that point? And then, you know, I was like, oh, this is, yeah, that's lovely. And then I sort of realized, you know, as I got older, oh, right, that, you know, that's a big thing. And mum and dad wrote in my card, and I'll always remember this. They said, we have had this plan since you were born. So, oh God, it makes me really emotional.
That's so beautiful.
We've put money aside every month for this moment because we want you to be able to explore the world and travel. But if you ever get into trouble, you've got something to sell. I just think that's just amazing. Sorry,
Absolutely
get a grip,
beautiful.
Alice, but I just think
no. You've made me go on. By the way, I go in every episode.
So but it's such a sign of
dedication and love,
dedication and commitment to being really, really good parents.
Absolutely.
And you know, my sister had the same, and now we both often, and we've always, my sister and I have always got them on. She's the same. Oh gosh, a magpie. She's the same. She's never pulled hers off either. And I just think, God, what wonderful role models we had when we had children.
Oh, truly. Are your parents still with you?
Yeah, they are, yeah. Oh, very much so. God, yeah. I don't know what I would do without them.
Yeah.
And we're lucky they look after themselves. And the reason that they are so keen at looking after themselves, you know, they eat really well, they walk absolutely loads. And it's because they want to be around to help Jen, my sister, and I, and they want to be there for our kids. And I just...
Yeah.
They're brilliant. You know, they really are. I don't know what I'd do without them.
No, it sounds like you're such a close and loving family.
Well, it's not, you know, people see a Rolex and they think, oh, flashy. But it's not. It's the antithesis of flashy. It's actually been saved for years and years, well, for 18 years. And, you know, having that plan from the minute your child is born and seeing that through and giving them something tangible that would get them out of trouble if they ever needed it. For me, I think that is truly incredible.
It writes a whole story, doesn't it? And every time you look down at that face, apart from seeing the next chapter of life and where you need to be in the moment, you remember them and their sacrifice and their dedication. And I guess you just hope that in some way your 3 kids will also collect something of as valuable as that. And that's what it all represents.
Yeah, and we'll do the same for ours. Well, Annie would have my watch, but I think it's something so wonderful to do for your children. And again, I realise how big a sacrifice it was, you know, and they'd always do the same for the both of us. So that was a lot of money for them.
Yeah.
But I think, oh, what a wonderful thing to do. And it reminds me of them.
Yeah.
And it's been with me through all of life's ups and downs, all the brilliant times, you know, giving birth to all the children, all of it, and the difficult times too. And for me, that is something that I don't go anywhere without.
Can I ask your parents' name, please?
Yes, of course. Mary and Alan.
Mary and Alan, we love you. We love Delith. We love Hazel. We love Davina. And we certainly love your mum and dad. Oh, this has been such a delight. Alex, I can't thank you enough. I know how busy you are. But to hear your 3 choices, to your drama school teacher, to Magaluf, Mallorca, and to that beautiful Rolex that was put on your wrist at 18 years of age. Honestly, I don't think you could have chosen better. I hope you've enjoyed it.
I've loved it. Thank you so much for having me.
It's been an absolute treat, and wishing you well for the next chapter.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And there we have it. Series 4 is wrapped. Thank you so much to all our lovely listeners for tuning in this series. If you have enjoyed this episode, please do pass it on to a friend. And please do press subscribe or follow now. It doesn't take long, it doesn't cost a thing, but it does make a huge difference in getting this podcast made. We will be back soon with Series 5. Let us know who you want to listen to. And until then, take care. Bye-bye.